Christy here from Wise Owl Wellness. Today we're going to talk about how to find a neutral spine. You know, we have natural curves in our spine, and when we maintain a neutral position, it avoids stressing our spine and particularly our low back. So it's important that when we're performing the moves on the ball or with the ball, that we have that nice neutral spine. So that means that the pelvis is not tipped either forward or backward or off to one side. So when we're standing, let's find mountain pose. Feel both feet on the earth underneath the hip joints. Rock up and back and side to side to connect your whole feet to the earth. Take your hands, one to the front and one to the back of the pelvis, and play with tilting the pelvis forward and back, just rocking it gently. And you'll feel the point at which it feels centered. If you think about the back of your spine, when you find that neutral spine, it's like a line anchoring you down to the earth. So we're not tilted too forward, we're not tucked under too much, and we're not tucked outward, protruding too much. So it's a nice neutral position with that tailbone pointed straight down. Once you have that alignment, roll the shoulders back and down to lift the rib cage and open the heart. Reach the fingers down toward the earth to pull the shoulders away from the ears and let the head float. So we're stacking the joints each time we come into this neutral spine. The knees are over the ankles, the hips are over the knees, the shoulders are over the hips, and the head rests comfortably in the center. That is neutral spine standing. I'll show you from the side so you can see the natural curves of my spine. Now we'll find a neutral spine seated on the ball. Have a seat on your ball. Bring your feet parallel and onto the earth. The knees are bent at 90 degrees. You can rest your hands on your thighs. The thighs are parallel with the earth. If that's more comfortable, you can bring the hands to the sides of the ball. The shoulders roll up, back, and down to lift the rib cage. Now let's play with tilting the pelvis. So let's just rock the ball back and tilt the pelvis back. And then tuck the tailbone, tilting the pelvis forward, feeling the stress that it's putting on the low back as we move through these pelvic tilts. So we want to find the place at which we're just in the center so that the pelvis is not rotated either forward or back. We also want to make sure the pelvis isn't tipped to one side. So let's just slide the ball over to one side, do a little pelvic hip bump, and then let's do it over to the other side. Feeling that offness, we're not quite centered. So let's come back to the center and find the point at which the spine is neutral. The upper body should be relaxed and the shoulders are away from the ears. Anytime we're doing seated moves, this is the spinal position for the seated moves on the ball. And finally, let's learn how to find a neutral spine lying down, supine position. The knees are bent and the feet are on the ground. Feel free to move around a little bit, making sure if you lift your head, you should feel like your head is right in the center of your body. The arms can come down to the sides, and again, wiggle around a little bit with the shoulder blades, making sure both shoulder blades are on the ground. This is a pose called constructive rest. Now we're going to bring awareness to the pelvis. So for a moment, let's start to tuck the tailbone under. That's going to bring the lower back into contact with the earth. That's your neutral spine. We're not going to tip it too forward, lifting the pelvis up, because that engages other muscles and causes fatigue on the low back. So we're just going to let the spine rest, imprinting the low back onto the ground. Now let's tip it forward. Notice that the middle part of the back comes off of the mat. We don't want that either. So we want to bring that middle back into contact with the earth and press the low back into the earth. That's our neutral spine. lying down. So anytime we're doing supine moves, we want to make sure that we're contacting our pelvis and our shoulders with the earth. Then just roll up like a ball. And that's how you find a neutral spine, standing, seated, or lying down.